You're listening to the Nerd to Know Media Network. Join us at nerdtoknowmedia.com.
Broadcasting from the Blanchistan Centre, this is Phoenix FM.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together to bitch about movies and share facts.
According to the Nerd Index, you should be upside down in a junior high toilet around the clock.
This is We'll do it live! Time goes in, time goes out. Never miscommunication.
It's over 9,000! My name is Foxy.
The balls are in there. Do a barrel roll. Don't save me, bro. It's a trap. I'm a firing believer. Time to do. Hey, Charlie, wake up. Oh, God, oh, man.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Nerd to Know Basis here on Phoenix 92.5 FM. This week we've got a nice kind of low-cut show, a nice easy show where it's just me and Darragh. How you doing, Darragh?
Ahoy! How are you?
I'm doing good. I've had a busy old week of kind of movies and nerd stuff kicking around. But before I get into my whole spiel, how are you keeping?
I'm in a lot of pain. Not like, well, no, yeah, I am in a lot of pain.
Good pain.
Good pain. Well, I mean, no, tomorrow's going to be the bad pain when you wake up. So
when your muscles really realize they got the snot knocked out of them.
Yeah, when they're like, oh, you're going to pay for this now. Yeah, quick plug for Taekwondo if anybody wants to do it. It's in the local area to where we are. The Castahini Community Centre. Look up Castahini Taekwondo and you can find it. It's Mondays and Wednesdays, and of course we tape on a Wednesday, so I'm literally just out of the class, and it's good to be back, but holy hell, it's legit, you know. And that's my dog Poppy, who also agrees that Taekwondo is tough, but it's fun, and I recommend it. It's fun for all the family if your families like to punch each other and kick each other, but it's a good time,
which is a healthy thing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if all the Marvel superhero movies taught us anything, that everybody should know how to do martial arts in some way.
Just in case.
Absolutely, just in case. You never know when you're going to be on a train randomly going across the way, and then someone records it on YouTube, and you end up being chased by Shanzi and the 10 Rings.
And just, bus gets torn in half and only your Taekwondo could save the day.
Absolutely. No, but it is good to be back, because I did it when I was like, I got up to red tag when I was, I left when I was about 19, 20. And then I'm back. So obviously going back a couple of years, like red tag is like 1 before red and then 2 before black. So, I mean, it's up there. So the interesting fact, when you go from like not doing it for years at a very high grade, it's extremely tough. So in a word, I'm feeling good. The post workout endorphins are there, but I am going to be very, very sore tomorrow.
You are going to be lying down a lot.
Oh, I will not move tomorrow.
I think what you would have enjoyed, what you may have enjoyed tomorrow, was what I had done over the weekend. Over last week, obviously it's a bit late to be plugging it now, but last Saturday, I think it was internationally. There was National Cinema Day, where I think all the major cinemas definitely were showing screenings of movies for between, I think, €3 to €4 a ticket. So I had the genius idea to spend 10 hours in Cineworld on Parnell Street.
So it's funny you mentioned that, right? Because I did that I did that 3 weeks ago. Either 2 or 3 weeks ago. I don't really remember. Time is lucid, right? It doesn't really matter. Yeah. But I kind of did the same thing, because I'm like, I have a Cineworld Black Card. I have literally nothing to do. So why not? So I went in and I saw Orphan, First Kill, and The Feast. So I did less than you. I did 6 hours. So 2 movies. And you did 10 hours. So you did.
Well, I did 4. More. I did 4 movies.
Oh, sorry. What did I say? 6 movies?
I don't. I think you said it. I did 4.
Yeah, but you're there for 6 hours. You're there for like 6 hours, right? Longer?
10. 10 in,
that was
10 in total. I did have breaks.
Yeah, no, I was there for about 6 hours just from the wait. But it was funny because Cineworld did, and we're not this. Look, this isn't a plug for Cineworld. This is just what happened. But I have a Cineworld Black card. Do you?
No.
Okay.
This was just for the £3 tickets.
Oh, that's true.
Yes.
That makes sense. See, I just randomly went because I have the Black card, and they were doing this thing where like August rewards, right? So they just had random stuff on your card. So I had like random free popcorn, random drink, random hot dog. And I'm like, so I literally paid for nothing, like the whole day.
Wow.
I was like, this is class. No, I did go in and I think I bought another drink at some point because I'm like, I've been here for a very long time.
Yeah.
But other than that, like I didn't pay for anything for the whole day. It was pretty cool. But that's why I was there. Your story makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah,
you randomly said, I want to burn money.
It literally just turned out that like that National Cinema Day just lined up with like a real fistful of movies I just wanted to watch. So across my 10 hours, I caught the new Dragon Ball superhero movie. I caught Jordan Peele's new one, Nope. I caught Bullet Train, and I caught 3,000 Years of Longing.
Okay, so let's do it this way, right? I haven't seen Dragon Ball Z because I'll be honest with you, fun fact, and this is going to completely destroy the illusion that I'm king of all nerds. I've never seen Dragon Ball Z.
To be honest with you, I think at this point you're probably good.
Fair. Fair.
I don't think it's something that'll really hold up going back to it now.
Right. It just never came into my, like, it was in the wheelhouse, obviously.
Yeah.
I was in that age where like I was too young to have got into it when it was kind of for older kids, and I was too old to catch the resurgence. So I missed the original swing, and then I missed the resurgence of it.
Yeah, I think I was just kind of under the bar for it, where it was like syndicating on TV.
Yeah,
I think it was just before me.
Yeah.
So like that's because I never watched it when I was younger, and I only got an anime way later, where that would have been a lot of people kind of gateway into it.
Right, because we got obviously Pokemon, and then we got Yu-Gi-Oh and Digimon.
Oh yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh, formative, absolutely.
Yeah, so Yu-Gi-Oh was syndicated on RTE when I was in fourth year to sixth year, right? So that was, and then the resurgence of Dragon Ball happened like 2 or 3 years after that.
Yeah.
So I completely missed that. So I mean, I just never got into it. So here's what we'll do, right? I'm gonna let you speak about Dragon Ball and Jordan Peele's Nope. Straight away, I noped out of that because one, I hated his Twilight Zone series, which is terrible, and I was very disappointed with his Candyman. Actually, Candyman, it's all right, but
he didn't do Candyman, did he?
Yeah, he did.
Did he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. And
I thought that was someone else.
No, it was Jordan Peele.
Wow, no, because I heard about that. I heard it wasn't great, but I just didn't know it was him.
Yeah, you should watch the Twilight Zone series. Holy hell, what a bad series that is.
Because here's the thing, I'm on the full opposite side, where I watched Get Out, absolutely loved it, thought it was stellar.
Yeah,
kept meaning to get around to Us, and I'll get into Nope. But
no, fair. But what I'm saying to you is, it's like he's somebody who I think it's, like some people like Get Out. I'm like, yeah, okay, it's fine. It's like The Strangers. I don't know if you've ever seen The Strangers. You ever seen that movie?
No.
So it's very much kind of the same, where it's like it's good and a lot of people like it, but I'll never watch it again. And Jordan Peele kind of makes the same movie over and over again. And when he tries to do something different, the wheels kind of fall off.
Okay, we're gonna wheel us back. We're gonna come back to this.
Yeah, obviously, but that's just my take on Jordan Peele. Is also anything I go see it with some hesitation. And when I saw what Nope was about, I was like, ironically, I'm going to nope out of this. So full disclosure, I haven't seen those two movies. So I'm going to let you talk about them, and then we'll talk about Bullet Train and the other one, because I have actually seen those. So
okay,
the floor is yours, sir.
So started with Dragon Ball. This is the one I'm not going to spend the most time with, because like it'd be a lot to sell people on Dragon Ball, and this is not a movie that like you could jump into.
Yeah, this is why I didn't say it.
Yeah, no, and you're probably about as well off. In that case, here's my actual, like, the movie, to kind of make it as bare bones, I really enjoyed it. The animation was stellar. It was really funny, which I really enjoyed, because like Dragon Ball was originally a comedy series that kind of blended into an action series. So they brought a lot of that back. And one of my favorite parts of this is the fact that Goku and Vegeta are effectively not in this movie. It is very much a side character affair, which love it. Love those sorts of things. But what I'm going to say to you is my recommendation for if you want to watch this movie. I'd say if anybody out there has an interest in watching Dragon Ball but thinks the series is a bit, it's a bit too old to get into or it's a bit too long to get into, watch the Dragon Ball Super movies. There's, I think, like Superhero now, the new one is the fourth one. So I'd say start with Dragon Ball Z War of Gods, then watch Resurrection F, and then watch Broly. I think all of them would kind of give you enough context. War of Gods is pretty much an entirely standalone movie. Resurrection F is kind of a follow-up to that. Broly is a whole other standalone. And by that point, you'd have enough knowledge. You'd know these characters well enough to at least pick up on a lot of the context that Superhero might give you. And if you watch 4 movies and actually enjoy this, then go back and watch like the series and that. But Superhero, really stellar. Won't get too much into it because it is a dense franchise. But if you are a Dragon Ball fan, this is a must watch because it is a film. It's a film full of just side character antics and just callbacks upon callbacks upon callbacks. Brilliant. So moving on then to Nope, which I'm calling you out here. Peele was a producer. Peele was a producer on Candyman. Nia DaCosta was Candyman.
Oh yeah, but I mean, it's a Jordan Peele movie. Like it really has a lot of hallmarks that are in all of his movies. He makes the same movie over and over again, which, I mean, ironically, I feel bad for not seeing Nope because it is something different. But I don't know. You know what it felt like? And this is from somebody who, and also the original Candyman is like, don't make a sequel to it. You don't need to. It's perfect. Like, it is a perfect movie. Have you seen the original Candyman?
No.
Oh, dude, it's brilliant. It's so good. I mean, it really holds up. And this isn't a review of his Candyman, but it is, when you're watching it, all you're thinking of is, the original's a lot better. It's the whole time you're just like, I want to watch the original. I would recommend, but if you watch the two of them together, you actually get a full story. So as a sequel to Candyman, it stands up, but as a movie by itself, it's quite weak. That's it in a nutshell. Anyway,
okay, no,
right?
So
hold on. So obviously, I haven't seen it, right?
Yeah,
I know very little about it, right? But
I think actually I think because I went into it as kind of blind as possible as well. And I think the film, it seems like the advertising is trying to kind of keep away. I actually think it strengthens the movie by knowing that this is an alien abduction movie.
Okay, so all I know about it is that it's from the advertising, it looked like a crossover between Mars Attacks and Science, right? But it's an alien abduction movie, right? That kind of has a commentary about a Hollywood treatment of animals, right? So I know that from the reviews I've seen. That's all I know. So sell me on this movie because, I mean, Jordan Peele, he's kind of like
I don't know. I think you've come at like Jordan Peele as a filmographer just from the wrong direction. Probably, I have heard nothing about this Twilight Zone series, and again, Candyman is a DaCosta movie, so like,
fair. That's fair. I'll give you Candyman. I will give you Candyman.
So,
but that Twilight Zone series is. I mean, watch it. Tell me, folks, if you're listening, nerdtoknowmedia@gmail.com, why Darragh is wrong that the Twilight Zone series is good. Please, I want to know. I love the Twilight Zone, so please tell me. I'd love to know.
But anyway,
you can add me on Twitter as well.
Yeah. But anyway, Nope. It is an alien abduction movie. It is about these Hollywood ranch owners that end up having to deal with an alien basically taking camp above their ranch and just absolutely screwing up their daily lives. And there is that tension, there is that mystery that I think Peele is actually very good at in his own movies. But he has, I think what his strengths are is that he can balance that with enough comedy. Because the name of the movie is pretty much just Daniel Kaluuya's entire reaction to the fact that there is an alien involved. And he's got this great straight man performance where if anything is off or supernatural, he's like, nope.
That's good.
Nope,
I like that though. See, I like that,
Yeah. and then on top of that, so that's they're kind of dealing with that, and then to the side there's a kind of a very cheap Wild West kind of theme park that's been run by Stephen Yun, who like in universe was like a child actor that ended up involved in, we'll say, like an incident with an animal on set in a sitcom.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Like pretty, like the movie opens on some pretty grisly stuff. Like this, obviously it's a horror movie.
I've heard that.
Not for the faint of heart.
No.
But it's like I'm trying to put this in the best way without saying too much about the movie. But
okay, how
like,
about this? Yeah. Folks, if you were going to watch it, turn down your radio for the next 2 minutes. Go on.
Let's see. I don't know, like it flows, and you kind of follow these characters trying to figure out what it is that's up in the sky, figuring out how it works, and then like the plot. Do you know what it is actually? It's creative. The plot isn't actually about them trying to beat the alien. It's that the ranch is failing, and they're trying to get the money shot to sell it on Oprah to actually make money off of the alien sighting. Yes,
no, I've heard that. So welcome back, everybody. You turned down the radio for us out for 2 minutes. I actually heard that. I heard that it's a commentary based on how Hollywood uses and abuses animals.
Yeah,
or that's the
just Hollywood engagement kind of in general. Like
yeah. But specifically because the aliens are using the people are using the aliens as like product rather than they should be terrified. So that's a cool thing. So I mean, I will watch it. As I said, I have a Cineworld card. It's just it wasn't something I was rushing to watch. So that's refreshing to hear. It's refreshing, and it's got one of the more like creative, and the things they do with the aliens. It's some of the more kind of creative visual effects I've seen in a long time. Very good. I like that. But yeah, really, like it strikes that right balance of just kind of tense and funny. That like it just kind of like both hold each other up. That's what you want. I mean that's actually really cool. I like that. One real thing actually, speaking of horror movies, before I forget, I want to give a shout out to a new streaming service I discovered today. Oh, right. So I randomly was on, I don't know what I was on. I was on some website. Oh, I remember. I was on Zavvi. So Zavvi used to be in Ireland. He used to be Virgin Megastores, and then he got bought over, right? So now they're online. Yeah. And I was buying, Ninjor from Power Rangers. Oh, remember Ninjor? I do. You've been on a real Power Rangers post to talk about it, haven't you? Oh man, I just discovered. I remembered how much I love Power Rangers, which is a lot, by the way. But anyway, there's a Power Rangers convention on every year. I'm totally going to that next year. Hell yeah, it's happening. Anyway, so I was on Zavvi, and Arrow is Arrow's like a cult video service. Like they do some weird movies from the 70s. A lot of really obscure horror movies. They do a lot of Hammer films. Even some Japanese like Seven Samurai and Battle Royale and stuff. They're the distributor for all the movies that really should be banned, right? Or were banned at certain times, like Video Nasties. They would all be distributor for it, right? And I love that kind of stuff. It's, if people listen to Horrenda, they know that the current horrendous stuff is all about Video Nasties, right? Yeah. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll pick up some Blu-rays, whatever. And then I'm like, wait, they have a streaming service. Interesting, right? So they're doing a 30-day trial, right? And I was just looking through it. And initially what brought me to actually sign up for it was they have a documentary. Like the documentaries are great. Like I love horror documentaries. And they have one on, the Video Nasties thing, which we're not going to talk about because obviously it's, 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock. Exactly. They have a documentary on the history of Hellraiser. But what actually got me to sign up was they have a documentary on the Devils, right? It's called Hell on Earth. Now, The Devils is a 1970s movie that was banned everywhere, right? Yeah. For what's in it. Like, it was banned for years, right? We actually wrote a song about it in Horrenda called Nun's Tears. That's kind of what it's about, right? And it's a fantastic film. It's like, obviously kids do not watch it. But, if you're over the age of 18, absolutely go and watch it. I saw it when I was 16. Well, you know what I mean? I had to
And we'll
order
say
it.
it's nothing less than formative.
Exactly. It's one of those movies where you're like, whoa, this is unreal. And I signed up for it because I'm like, oh, that's so cool, like a documentary on it. So, I'm going to give it a very strong endorsement purely based on what's on this. Because, like, obviously, I have a Shudder subscription. Shudder's okay, but it doesn't hit, it doesn't hit the same.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
that's so weird,
I'm looking at this and I'm seeing just like a lot of that more kind of strange, plus just actually like, genuinely critical, like just got like a bunch of the Kurosawa films.
Absolutely, yeah. It has a bunch of kaiju films as well, like a whole series of kaiju films thrown in there with like just the most obscure, crazy horror. So I'm like, look, if you're a Horrenda fan, you're probably gonna really enjoy this. If you're a film fan, you're really gonna enjoy it. And you're horror, like, I mean, I didn't know where to put this in, but I didn't want to leave it out because it's a massive discovery, and I'm like, man,
Yeah, I haven't. I hadn't heard about this at all. I'm actually scrolling to the page now.
Isn't it awesome?
Yeah, that just looks really interesting. Right?
Yeah,
I think I'm just glad that there's somebody out there that actually just managed to get all of this and put it up on something.
Well, see, as I said, I was going in to buy a rake of Blu-rays, right?
Yeah.
And when I go up north, I'd always go into HMV and pick up because they have an Arrow section, right?
Yeah.
And Arrow actually, I know them because we did the album launch for Lords of Chaos, so I know a lot of people in Arrow,
Right.
But I didn't know they had a streaming service until today. So I'm like, man, if you are a fan of cult horror, right? Low budget horror from the 70s, weird 80s stuff, Kurosawa,
kaijus, like rubbery kaijus.
Man, it kind of like, yeah, okay, we'll put it this way. If Shudder isn't scratching that itch for you, this
Arrow should. Yeah.
This will. And then also as well, they do like selects. So they actually bring in people to curate movies. So they actually have like Edgar Wright coming in to curate movies.
I saw that. I saw Jim Cummings, and I don't think that's the Jim Cummings I know.
No.
That's not Winnie the Pooh Jim Cummings.
No. Very different. But they have like directors coming in and doing it. So I mean it's a very like, I know the other side to this would be movie, and movie is like real art house.
Oh yeah.
Cinema, but I'm like, I'm not spending that money to watch it, a lighthouse turn on and off. I'm sorry, it's not happening. And I mean, again, like some of the lads in the band, they're all like, we're all big film geeks, so we do have this where they keep trying to sell me on movie. If you guys like movie, that's cool. I know that's really our house, and I'm sure people really love it. But for me personally, and again, we're not sponsored by anyone, but this is a discovery I made today. I put down my money for the trial. Again, you get a 30-day free trial, which is nice. So yeah, check it out. And the minute we finish this, I'm going to go watch that documentary on the Devils, because that movie, Kev, you'd actually love it, man. You'd really enjoy it.
I think I would. That sounds right up my alley.
It's based on a real event in the 1700s in a little town in Lyon in France, where these nuns went crazy, and Cardinal Richelieu had to actually send in a bunch of investigators to find out if they were possessed by the devil. It's a real thing that happened, and they took the story, and it's brilliant. I mean, history is the craziest thing ever. And
you can't make some of that stuff up.
No, well, they don't know. That's the thing. The movie goes into all the different sides of it.
Yeah.
But it's so visually striking. Like, that's the thing about the 70s, like 70s horror in general. It's so obscure and weird. Like no 70s movie you're sitting there watching. I mean, like, you're watching the Wicker Man, and the Wicker Man should be hilarious. Christopher Lee's running around in a dress with his face all painted crazy. And that's the scariest thing in the world. And
I'm gonna admit an absolute sin.
Have you seen it?
I have not seen the Christopher Lee Wicker Man.
Oh man, I mean, like,
I have seen the Nicolas Cage Wicker Man.
Fair, but I think it loses the impact.
That's a campy schlock fest. It is not a scary movie.
You see, like, I think when you're talking about horror, and that's why when it comes to, like, I don't really like modern horror that much, because it doesn't have that bite to it. That there's something wrong here, right? Because it's too clean or whatever.
Yeah.
Like with Orphan First Kill, that was a fun movie, right? And Feast, that was a fun movie. Well, it wasn't fun, actually. It was in Welsh, and it was really messed up. Actually, yeah, that was a fun movie, because that actually had some of that transgressiveness, because it's tied to something, And the 70s tapped into this weird zeitgeist where it was like, there are messed up things going on here, and then you get it through this weird art house cinema.
Which complete sidebar. This would be weeks old now. Did you see the ad for that Rob Zombie Monsters movie?
Oh, stop. I can't believe that's real.
It looks great. I love it.
That's real.
It looks so cheap and so camp, and I am into it.
So look, one final thing, guys. If you want it, Arrow's cool. To me, it was cheaper than buying a bunch of DVD Blu-rays, which I have no space for.
Yeah.
So, get the trial and check it out. And I mean, hey, if you want us to talk about horror movies, I would absolutely do a horror podcast.
Believe me, I was talking about a day in the cinema and he started talking about horror movies.
Oh yeah. It's pretty. They even have Rawhide Rex, which is
I read about this. I meant to go see, they were playing in the Lighthouse about a month ago and I meant to go see it.
Yeah, so that is the Clive Barker Irish horror movie. It's fantastic.
Yes.
Real good. So I mean that's kind of what you're looking at, I would thoroughly recommend it. And if I know, maybe a Halloween, we'll do like a Halloween podcast, maybe
strap Keaton down and make him watch some visceral stuff.
That would be funny. I'm not gonna lie. We should get Keaton as well, because Keaton and Aaron, they'd love that.
Hell yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, so look, the next movies which I did see, right?
So yeah, now we're into stuff that you can actually talk about.
Yeah, sorry for like stealing 10 minutes there. I just had to, man. It's such a cool thing. I'm really sorry.
So next then on my docket was Bullet Train.
Super fun. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, like way better than I had expected.
I didn't know what I was expecting. Genuinely, I didn't know. I went completely blind. I was expecting
kind of solid 5 out of 10. Blew me out of the water.
It's at least a 9. It's
that's it. Yeah, it's just
brilliant.
It's such. I think it was because I think Bullet Train was the longest of the 4 that I saw. I think it's like
very long. Yeah, it was very long.
It's just over 2 hours.
Yeah.
But it just kind of didn't feel it. And
it's really tight, isn't it?
That's it. It's really tight, and I love it when a movie does a small scale set very well, and everybody's kind of moving around each other like clockwork.
I mean, what I really liked about it is the advertising didn't give it away. Right? They didn't give it away. It's funny because I don't know if you saw Escape the Stone or something. It was some movie with Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum that was out a couple of months ago. Oh,
I didn't watch it, but I remember it looked pretty fun.
It was, right?
Yeah.
But what's funny about it is I think these were made at the same time, because a lot of the cast that's in this movie is also in that movie, and the cameo, there's a really funny cameo of Brad Pitt in it, right? And Channing Tatum is the cameo in this.
Yes.
And Sandra Bullock's in both of them. And I mean, obviously they must have made them at the same time because they were hanging out together. And it's just great. But this was made by the director of Deadpool 2, I believe. And you know what? I'm going to say it. This is a better movie than Deadpool 2. Ryan Reynolds is also in this.
I think I would absolutely agree with you. It's such a simple premise of just, what if we just chucked a bunch of weird assassins onto a bullet train and just had them go from Tokyo to Kyoto, and they all absolutely try to kill each other.
Yeah, and no one really knows
who's going to. It's and they've all got just such defined characteristics. And my favorite is, oh God, was he lemon or tangerine? The guy that kept talking about Thomas. The Thomas the Tank Engine guy.
Oh, that's Lemon.
That was Lemon, yeah. And it's just it also serves to me because I spent my entire childhood watching Thomas the Tank Engine. But just him talking, characterizing and saying is no, you're a Gordon, you're serious, you're a stick in the mud, but everybody respects you. Just calling somebody who's a bit of a green and naive and Percy. But then knowing that there's somebody hinky that's kind of stirring the pot from behind the scenes and be there's a diesel around here. I can tell there's a diesel. And again, everybody's kind of there's motivations and there's grudges and there's self-serious drama. And through the entire movie, Brad Pitt is literally just bumbling his way through.
Yeah, he kills people by accident.
It's so... And I think I said this before and I'll say it again. I will always buy stupid Pitt.
But I think as well, it's not only that he's bumbling his way through, it's that everything is kind of moving around him, and he's not only being the protagonist, but he's also being our key to the world.
Our focus, yeah.
Because he doesn't know what's going on. He wasn't even supposed to be there today.
everything. Every aspect of him is reactionary. Like he is not an active participant.
No, he's literally not doing anything.
No.
He's just wandering through while people are trying to kill each other and him.
In fact, I think he literally spends the entire movie trying to get off the train.
Yeah, and he just won't let him.
And then they just can't.
But it's funny. There's even points where he gets off the train. And he's like, "Oh, I need to go back for a minute."
I can't. God damn it!
But it's really good, and then it all kind of ties back. There's one or two really good twists. The absolute ending, like the final ending, is so funny. It's a great movie. It really is. I would say out of all of them, it's the best time you'll have. I think I'd agree with that. Like I'm torn on like if I preferred it or no, but both are entirely different movies. And I think out of the two of them, Bullet Train is the one I'd watch again. Yeah, I'd watch Bullet Train again easy. Actually, I probably might watch Bullet Train again actually at some point. But let's move on to the next one because the next one is quite interesting. Now, question I have for you.
Yeah.
Have you ever read Arabian Nights?
No.
Okay.
No. I suppose my base knowledge of this is probably most people's in just Aladdin, in just Disney's Aladdin.
Right. So the next movie is 3,000 Years Long. Is that it?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So I really like this, but I hated the framing. Right. The actual stories were amazing. Right. The acting is great. The set was great. The framing around it really bugged me because it lied to me. Right. The way they sold this, the ad sold it as this awesome, cool, crazy,
fanciful adventure. Yeah.
And it's not. It's literally Arabian Nights. Now, for anyone who doesn't know what Arabian Nights is, I'm going to pretend like you guys haven't done a degree in history or read the Quran in the 11th century. I don't think anyone has. But Arabian Nights is the story where Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves comes from, where Aladdin comes from, where Sinbad comes from, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
It was bundled in with the Quran back in the 11th century, right? Up to like the 15th century. So when you bought those books, you got it with it, right? And you'd read them together because there's lots of crossover and cultural context and all that kind of stuff, right? So it's super famous, right? And the way that's framed is usually that story in modern culture is that there was a sultan and he had a wife and the wife didn't want to sleep with him, right? So she would tell him stories. There's also stories that the husband was going to kill her and she told him a story every night. So I mean the framing changes. Like I remember the first time I ever heard of Arabian Nights, it was a Scooby-Doo one, right? Where Scooby and Shaggy pretended to be women and the king falls in love with them, and in order to avoid any awkwardness they tell him the story, and this is the stories they tell, right? So I was like 7 when I got that videotape, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, like it's a very, 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 very famous framing device, right?
Yeah.
And I just wish that was what they had said. Now, to be fair, when you're watching the movie, it's set up that way because she's a storyteller.
Yeah.
And she's setting it up as a story device. And I mean, it's a really good way to do it. It's just, this is a movie that suffers by bad advertising. But then again, when you're watching, you're like, oh, of course, this is what it has to be because there's no way you're going to be able to tell these stories. And I love the way they get into it and the frame, like the actual, once the stories are told, it's so good and it's so beautiful and it's so rich,
And I found it nothing but mediocre. I thoroughly dislike this movie.
I don't blame you.
Here's the thing. I actually, when I found out, because obviously, I'm on the same boat as you. I thought like the advertising lied to us.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
when I found out that, as 100%. You said, it was Arabian Nights, when it was just these two people, like most of the movie is these two people sitting in a room, him telling her a story. I can buy into that premise. I just found everything else dull. The effects were poor, and they were not great. And even though I do believe that Idris Elba and Tilda Swinton are phenomenal actors, I just couldn't buy into any of their emotions.
Yeah, that's where it fell apart for me.
And their character motivate,
yeah.
I'll spoil it.
Hold on, one second, folks. If you're gonna watch it,
turn it down.
Turn it down.
Like her admitting her love for him came flatly out of nowhere.
From nowhere. Nowhere.
And the thing is then the movie goes on for another 20 minutes after that. It felt like the movie should have ended there.
Yeah.
I think out of the 4 movies I watched that day, this was the shortest of all of them. And even then, I feel like it could have trimmed 20 minutes.
So I went to go to the cinema specifically to see this movie. And I was incredibly disappointed. As I said, if they had just said, this is 1001 Arabian Nights, cool. Call it that. I mean, you didn't need the fluff. The fluff around the movie. But and here's the thing. It's like, again, you have to blame the studio on this and the advertising, because they could have, if you watch the trailer, and folks, again, watch the trailer, you will see that they sell it as this time-spanning, civilization-hopping adventure.
Yeah.
And it's not.
It's stories.
It's stories. And I mean, I enjoyed it because, I mean, like, I love pre-Islamic culture. Like, really do. And even that kind of stuff with around the Arabian Nights stuff, it's so interesting. It's such
it gets props for sewing off the Ottoman Empire.
It does, and I love the Ottoman Empire as well. And again, when else are you gonna hear like brought up in a movie? So I really enjoy that setting anyway, because it's so, that kind of culture and that mythos is so interesting. Like even post-Islamic interactions with jinn and all that kind of stuff, like, that's super cool and is really interesting. But don't lie to people and sell people a bill of goods that it isn't.
There's definitely better movies to watch. And like,
there is, but I would say on this kind of stuff, not so much. Like,
I still don't even think this is worth seeing on that merit. Like,
look, no, here's the thing. I wouldn't go to cinema unless you had. Look, if you have a Cineworld Black Card, I go see a movie a week because I'm like, I'm getting my money's worth, right?
Yeah.
So I go see garbage, and I have, right?
That's fair. Like, I don't regret seeing it because I spent $3.70 on a ticket for it.
Yeah, yeah. You know what is disappointing though, and again, I just touched on what you said. Tilda Swinton, she's very hit and miss though. That's the thing, because she was also in The Dead Don't Die, which I really enjoyed.
Oh my god, that movie is awful.
Hold on.
It's dreadful. No, you've hit it. No, you've hit a nerve. You brought this up. That movie is bad. I was going to say at Keen's wedding, one of your roommates had the exact same. Actually, all 3 of your roommates had this reaction. That's because
they all hate that movie.
That's because me and my roommate Dave went to see that movie, thoroughly excited about seeing Bill Murray and Adam Driver and Tilda Swinton, and we not once did we laugh. It was bad, and it was soul dredging. Yeah, it was awful.
No, this is the reaction they all had.
It's a terrible, terrible movie.
So here's the thing on that, right? My point was, I enjoyed it because I like when something subverts expectations, right?
Yeah.
And I also really enjoyed the little Star Wars reference. It was gas, right? But Tilda Swinton needs to come with a warning. Because if you're expecting, like, you don't know what you're going to get with Tilda Swinton. You might get the coolest performance ever, or you might get absolute schlock like The Dead Don't Die, or you might get something that is fundamentally nothing, which is what 3,000 Years of Longing.
Yeah,
and it is. She needs to come with a warning, because she just takes projects that seem to interest her, and it could be anything. It literally could be anything.
See, here's the thing. It's not Tilda that's actually kind of like my flag on this.
Oh, really?
The reason, I'll tell you the reason I went to see this movie at all.
Okay.
Is the fact that George Miller was the name.
Oh, that's fair. That's a fair point.
That's why I'm going to see the guy, like the follow-up to Mad Max Fury Road. Yeah, I'm going to go see his movie. And like, I wasn't going to put whatever this was. Obviously, this was something completely different. Obviously, it's not a Mad Max movie, but like George Miller, like the craft and the soul that he put into Fury Road, it just feels like there's none of that here. It feels like it's a fully different filmmaker.
It is, but yeah, that's the thing. It's Arabian Nights, man.
Yeah, no, but even
and I mean, a lot of that stuff comes directly from Arabian Nights. It has a lot of the and again, like, this is the thing. It's lost on. I think it does a good idea of dropping you into that world. I love the way it never leaves Turkey.
Well, except for for the end.
No, but this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And if you watch what happened there, so I'm going to get to that, right? It never leaves Turkey, and it embroils you in that culture and engrosses you in that culture. And then once it leaves, and it's actually a commentary on the West interpretation of the stories, which is why he starts falling apart because he can't be here.
Mm.
And those stories can't be appreciated in the cultures that they're not there. So there is like a lot of subtext going on there, and even her whole belief in her career. There's a lot going on there, and it does have layers. But what I'm saying is, I'm like, why did you do this in a major movie for cinema release where most people are expecting some crazy fanciful adventure from the director of Mad Max Fury Road?
Yeah, nah.
And again, dude, I fundamentally, this is like what happened with Nightbreed back in 1991.
Yeah.
Where they cut it like a slasher movie, and Nightbreed is not a slasher movie, right? Advertising need and advertisements and trailers need to be held accountable here, because when I was watching it, and again, if I wasn't someone who appreciates this kind of stuff, and people walked out of the movie, I think there was like 4 people left in the cinema, right? And there was more.
No, I don't blame them.
And I don't blame them either. And I was like, man, you know, you have to start, you know, maybe don't watch trailers. Maybe don't watch trailers. Because they lie.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and it's disappointing. Like, this movie will probably get a cult following when it kind of goes to streaming. But
I don't doubt that there's people out there who idolize George Miller who are putting this on a pedestal. Like I fully believe that.
I'm indifferent to him, to be honest with you. I just like weird movies.
Yeah.
But
like I'm still like, I'm probably gonna still watch what he does next, but like again, I'll still always kind of hold him in regard for making Fury Road.
That's fair. That's fair. How long have we got left?
About 15 minutes. 15?
Okay.
Yeah.
So real quick. So while I was in the cinema, I went to the Lego store.
Yeah.
You know?
And everything went downhill.
No, well, yeah, kind of. I went there, I was like, I'll go to the Lego store and then I'll go to the cinema, right? So I didn't have to queue up, so I don't have to queue up anymore, which is cool.
Okay.
But I went in and, you know, I was thoroughly underwhelmed by the whole thing.
Oh, really?
Now, here's the thing. If you've never been in a Lego store, it's probably the best thing in the world. Fundamentally, right? It has everything you want. It has your Lego, you know, you can get your Lego sets, has a much better selection than you'd normally get in other places. And you know, the staff is really nice. You know, they give you a little passport. It's super cute, all that kind of stuff. However, if you've been to as many Lego stores as I have, which are many, it comes. So there's one in San Francisco that is very similar to it, where it's just a Lego store without really an identity. Now it's not that bad because it does, you know, it does certain things, like it has like the Aviva Stadium and like a camogie player who talks to you, and that's pretty cool, you know. But at the same time, I'm also like, oh, you know, in the one in Milan, they have a full-size Duomo, you know, a to scale Duomo, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's probably the most amazing thing you'll ever see, because I mean, it is like it's across the road from where the Duomo actually is.
Yeah.
And so you can see it in the distance, and then they have all the figures, because the Duomo, the great thing about the Duomo is, and that's in Milan, is all the figures are all carved in. So they have all the carves, they have all the stuff carved in, and they just have all the little figures, and it's incredible, right? And I'm like, lads,
I feel like Lego stores in major cities will reflect on the intention and the feeling of that city, and much like Dublin, it's very new and there's a lot of spark and shine, but much like Dublin as well, it is thoroughly disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, well, here's the thing: I was trying to do touristy things. I like doing touristy things sometimes, right? And most of them are drinking.
Yeah.
Like,
I'd say, like, you know, obviously it is drinking, but I think the best thing you can probably do as a tourist is the Guinness storehouse. Like,
yeah, I mean, but there's also other things like the graveyard tour and stuff like that as well. But they're like down. Like, even if you go onto TripAdvisor, the first 4 things are about drinking. So I mean, the problem here when you're trying to, you know, translate that into Lego, I mean, what are you going to do? Lego points? I don't think you want to send messages to kids.
I don't think that'd fly.
You know, but like, here's the thing, and you know, if they're listening to this, you know, one, your staff's really nice, and I did buy the Lego pyramid, and I will say, look, if you've never been to a Lego store, it is really cool. Absolutely go, have a great time, right? But, and I do say, but, if I was going to build something right for there, I would have built Christchurch.
Yeah,
I you know, Christchurch, the GPO, you know, there's 2. There's two, Trinity College, it just seems like
something a bit more elaborate, like, because that's those elaborate sort of architectures are kind of what is a standout in these sorts of
correct.
places.
And I mean, like when you go to like Rome as well, like they have the Trevi fountain done as a big mosaic, right? So I mean, I can sound a bit harsh when I'm like, that's all right, but then I'm like, you kind of half-assed it, it's like, it's all right. Like, yeah, the pool bag, they have the pool bag stacks. I'm like, no one goes to Ireland and thinks that the pool bag stacks are easy to go to Ireland. I'm like, come on, like, if they had to build Christchurch, that genuinely, and I don't want to hear, oh, it's too hard. I'm like, they built a Duomo.
That's like,
that's way harder to do.
When we're talking Lego artisans, the stuff we've seen,
and I'm just like, I would have just liked one of those things. One big standout piece where you're like, this is incredible. And there's just none of it, and I mean, like, again, if you've never been, go, you'll have a great time. If you have kids, they'll love it too, because they get to build themselves and stuff. But if you're like me, a grown-ass adult who's been to many Lego stores, it's a little underwhelming. But then again, people are like, you're an adult, why are you in a Lego store? I'm like, to buy the pyramid. Duh.
Yeah, like that's you say that, but then you have like, €300 Lego architecture sets. It's like 12-year-old day buying this.
Yeah, and the Lego architects are what I like to do. And sad news, actually, Lego are looking to move away from the Lego architect sets, which I mean,
really?
they're super cool. Like, I mean, they're the ones I do because you can put them on your desk and work and stuff. And it's just disappointing. And my dream is going to be shattered now of the 7 wonders of the ancient worlds in Lego, because there's only one, and that's the pyramid. No hanging gardens of Babylon for Darragh.
Darragh, I don't think we talk about merch potential enough, but I think we need to start trademarking the no hanging gardens of Babylon for Darragh t-shirt. I think we're onto something here.
We're onto something. Okay, fair enough. We'll talk to our merch guy. But yeah, I mean, that's it. Look, it's a soft recommendation. If you have kids, if you've never actually been to the Lego store, go. But here's the thing: if you're in a major city, it's always worth going to the Lego stores, because there are such cool things in all of them. They're all a little bit different. My personal favorite is the one in Milan, though. That's absolutely spellbinding. And the one in Leicester Square in London is amazing too. Actually, apparently they've redone it, because they used to have a full tube cart in it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and they had Big Ben, and this is what I mean. I'm like, when you see it and you're like, lads, what are you doing?
Because that's, I think, like when they were opening, what was the word they used to describe it? It was like it was some amalgamation of the words like entertainment and retail. It was some terrible buzzword that I can't remember off the top of my head.
Look, it is,
but that's the thing. Like, it's supposed to be kind of a draw, and I think because. Where is it again? Is it on Grafton Street? Yeah,
it's literally across the road from the Disney store.
So that's it. Like, they're trying to market that now as a kind of an area where you can go and like almost have like a more of an experience while you're shopping.
Yeah, and
although even the Disney store is pretty lackluster.
Downstairs is pretty cool though, to be fair, with all the Marvel stuff. They've really stepped up the game there. And you know what I think will happen? Because this is a new store and it's the first time for Ireland, eventually we'll build on it. So that's why I am cutting some slack, and I say, look, do support them, because I mean, it will go away and never come back if people don't go to it, right? And that's without people losing their jobs, because obviously you don't want people to lose their jobs. But I think what will happen is, and if they are listening to this, my rate is not expensive. I'll come in and advise, hanging gardens of Babylon. Come on. But no, in all seriousness, I think what will happen is they will expand out and probably build these more elaborate works, because like they had the mosaics at Comic-Con and they were pretty sweet. They're actually hanging now in, I think they're on up by the Village and Whelan's.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, up on that street that I can't remember the name of.
Kind of Camden Street.
Camden Street, yeah, they're up on Camden Street.
No way. No, I didn't. I'm glad to hear that they're actually kind of like still that they kept them up and were just dismantled.
Yeah, no, they kept them. Like, but I think it's just a settling phase at the moment. Like, I'm going to Disneyland Paris now at the end of the year, and their Lego store is that blows everything out of the water, because they have a full scale castle, Disney castle.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I'm like, this is what I'm saying. It's not knocking the store. It's just what probably will happen, they will build these big pieces. But for me, when I go to a Lego store, I'm not really going to buy Lego. I am going to buy Lego.
You are going to buy Lego. Make no mistake.
But no, that's like when I walked in, I was like, I
no.
knew I was going to spend money. That's why I didn't go in there. But I also go in because I'm like, I want to see the big draws, because it's experience too. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm cautiously optimistic. I mean, what is there is pretty cool, and it is like unlike anything you've done before. So I mean, absolutely go for it as well. So yeah, Lego store, go check it out.
Lego store, awesome. We got 5-ish minutes left, so I think I don't know if we've actually touched on it really since it came out, but I think let's just like dip our toes into She-Hulk.
Okay, I thought you were going to mention the other. I thought you were going to mention the other one.
No, I think I'm going to need Key in here to corral you on that one. So we're not talking about that.
I warned you. I warned
know.
you. Like, I mean,
I know.
That's something we can't even have on the radio. I don't think, because I would just go completely on him.
Nope. So She-Hulk.
She-Hulk. Yes.
Have you been watching it actually?
Here's the thing. I have no attachment to it, right? So I know people are freaking out about the twerking and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. I mean, she does stupid stuff in the comics too, but like, I don't know. I didn't watch Miss Marvel, right? And I'm not really watching this. So I mean, like, I'm aware of what happens in it. I think this has a bit more of a buzz to it than Miss Marvel did. I think Miss Marvel came and he was like, oh. This one, they're like, oh my god, it's terrible. I'm like, it's not that bad. I mean, like, it's Ally McBeal.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
That's the thing. It is a very just like it's just a very simple comedy show. Just poke, its purpose is to just poke fun at the Marvel universe, and
that's what it's doing. And I don't see the reason to hate it so much. It's weird.
Well, people hate women. That's the reason. I think that's pretty clear cut.
I don't think it's that. I just think like people don't read the comics. I don't even think the comics factor into this, because She-Hulk is kind of squarely about, obviously it's about being a lawyer, and she's been kind of used as a plot object in kind of like grander schemes, but like at her core, she is just a Deadpool. It's like, for lack of but I mean, the thing, a lot of stuff that she's doing, right? Like talking to the camera and again, I've only seen bits and pieces, but I have seen different reviews of it, and I mean, it does look on its face terrible, but you're not looking at it the right way. And this is why, this is the danger with comics, right? And also the point on this, I buy a lot of comics. I have over 2,000 comics, right? My comic collection is 10 boxes, right? So I've read a bunch of them, right? The trick with comics, folks, and comic material is you don't need to read them all. Not all of them are important. There's certain runs you just don't need to check out. And that's what these shows kind of are now. Yeah. Marvel are like comics. They've actually now transgressed. They're not movies, right? They're not movies anymore. They're not TV shows. They are live action comics. And you need to treat them that way. If you don't like She-Hulk, rad. Doesn't matter. Because guess what? There's more coming.
You can skip it and just continue on.
I mean, like, I go in every week to one of the fine comic book stores, Subsidy for Planet or Big Bang or whatever. And I'm like, cool, go in. I'll pick up whatever I like. I read it. I bag and board it, put it in the database, and that's it. I don't stand at all the comics I didn't buy and go, oh, that's terrible. Don't read that. How dare you read this book? That's what people are doing. It's so stupid.
That's it. My biggest problem with She-Hulk is the reaction to it. Yeah. Because it's not a show that's designed to be this analyzed and this talked about. Because here's the thing. It's that because, and I'm noticing, I'm able to put it kind of next to, I'm watching What We Do in the Shadows at the moment, which is phenomenal, great, is also a comedy series, is also doing a lot of affordable stuff. And I'm loving it because I'm able to just simply enjoy it and not have BuzzFeed blasting me about, hey, did you make sure you caught the 15 jokes in She-Hulk? And I'm like, yes, BuzzFeed, I watched the episode. They weren't hard to miss. Why are you talking about this?
You see, this is the thing. When two sides stop talking to each other, you know what the horseshoe theory is?
No.
So the horseshoe theory is, it's usually with politics. It's when you go so far towards whatever angle you're at, you loop around. So you go so far left, you become right. You go so far right, you become left. And that's what kind of happens. I mean, both sides of these people freaking out for both things. It's like, you sound exactly the same. Will you just stop? They're comics. I sound like Joel Schumacher, you know, when he was making Batman and Robin. It's a comic book.
Yeah, no, like it's
and now this is like literally that's what's happening, because you have to see these Marvel properties not as a TV show, not like it's not Star Wars. The lore doesn't really matter that much, because comics are very loose with lore, and comics are very weird, right? Very weird. Weird stuff happens in comics all the time because it's a comic book. It doesn't really matter, right? It's not like Lord of the Rings. It's not like Star Wars. It's not like Star Trek. It's its own thing. Like
like that's it's like it's, as you say, like it's like a comic book. It's a comedy series, and sure, like there you can critique a comedy series, but it doesn't need to be dissected on the subatomic level to the degree it's been.
Also, yeah, and I would say, but also hitching your wagon to it as like a bastion of feminist identity. I'm like, oh, you probably shouldn't do that. It's a comedy series. I mean, they tear that stuff down. You know, it's like there's other things to hit your wagon to.
Hey guys, do you know what? It can just be fine.
It can just be fine.
It can just be okay. And you can just stop there.
Yeah, and that's it. And I mean, if people are in any doubt of this, go into a comic book shop, say, hey, Nerd to Know Media sent me. Show me where the good She-Hulk comics are. And some nice lad or lady will be like, hey, here's some trade paperbacks.
Hey, I don't know what you're talking about. Why are you here?
No, they will. They'll be like, hey, here's some trade paperbacks. You'll get to read the comics.
What's this stupid podcast you're talking about?
Well,
Stop talking.
You know, I don't know. I mean, where else would you have heard about this? And then you're like, hey, here's some comic books. And then you'll read them. And you'll be like, oh, this was fun. Or this was fine. Or I hate this. I want my money back. Which they're all totally fine things. I mean, the thing about it is like you have to look at the source material, which is why, again, the other thing we're going to talk about eventually, where I'm going to become completely unhinged, is rooted in source material. Source material needs to be respected, but it's also important to factor in. If you're playing the Last of Us video game, right, you're still playing a video game. So you still have to do certain things in a video game, right? If you translate that to a movie, it's a movie and you're still working on the narrative. Actually, no, sorry, we'll go off something that exists. Uncharted, right? People wanted Uncharted to be like the video games. It's never going to be like the video games because it can't be. But where that movie fell down was instead of tapping into the feelings of the movie, it tried to replicate bits of the video game. It needs to be its own thing. But because we've moved so far away from the MCU being a traditional movie where it has a beginning, a middle, and the end, it's not doing that. The beginning, middle, and the end of these stories are vast arcs.
Yeah.
And so they've just become comics. So you have to look at them and treat them very much like comic books. You don't need to see, like even in the Infinity Saga, you don't need to see all the movies. You genuinely didn't. You know, it made things better, but comics do as well. I mean, you can read all the comics from DC or Marvel or the smaller ones and find everything that's in it. But
okay.
You can also read you can also read the 6 main books and get the same story. And that's the way you need to treat this kind of stuff. Everybody needs to calm down. Sorry, Kev.
We are at time.
Sorry, no, you bring up a lot of good points. It's unfortunate. And I mean, it's disappointing. You know, I think people just need to realize what they're looking at. And I don't think they are. I think they're just like, oh, you know, this, you know, I'm going to hitch my wagon to this and then bash this, that, and the other. It's like, no, you need to stop. It's a comic book. You know? I don't know.
I'd like again, like we'll probably, like, I just kind of want to touch base on it. We'll come back to this probably when it comes back, when it's finished, it's run. But for now, that's been our show. Yes. Thank you all for listening.
Yes.
You can follow me over at KevTalika94 on Twitter. Darragh, what would you like to plug for us?
So you can follow me on Twitter at DarraghWV, or you can at me as well. I will respond. Although, to be fair, I mainly talk about wrestling. Speaking of which, the wrestling world is on fire at the moment. So please do check out our podcast. Go over to nerdtoknowmedia.com. All our shows are free. We have something like 420 shows.
God,
crazy.
Good gravy. Crazy. Good gravy.
So they're all free. We know we're going to go back to doing the show live eventually, but the Wrestling Rewind is live every Friday night at 10:30. And we're going to be talking about CM Punk, AEW, and the whole wrestling world literally burning down in front of us. We're witnessing the Great Fire of Rome in real time. So please do check that out. I have to plug. I normally don't plug the Rewind, but I have to plug it. It's wild, folks. So do check that out.
Well, thank you all for listening, and we'll see you all again next week. Bye-bye.
All right, so you're listening to the podcast. You're like, hey, I'm not in Ireland. How do I get in touch? Well, TuneIn has you covered. That's how you can check us out live when we're on the radio. You go to TuneIn and download the app, or you can check out the live streams on nerdtoknowmedia.com or Phoenix 92.5 FM. If you want to get in contact with us, it's very easy. Nerd to Know Media everywhere. Nerd to Know Media on Twitter, Nerd to Know Media Instagram, Nerd to Know Media on Twitch, Nerd to Know Media at gmail.com if you want to reach out via email. Hope to hear from you soon. Check out the Wrestling Rewind here on Phoenix 92.5 FM every Tuesday at 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. And of course, over on nerdtoknowmedia.com, the only wrestling podcast by wrestling fans who don't hate wrestling. We'll see you then.
Hey, Darragh, what are you doing over there in Ireland? Like with the freaking leprechauns and everything. That's not cool. You should be over here with the cosplayers. At least then you could, like, I don't know, pretend like you got, I don't know, some kind of thing going on. Yeah, with you give me a Brooklyn Blaze. Yeah, with you. Darragh. Yeah, Darragh. Why ain't you over here with Joey? Anyway, we missed you, dude. So, this is Circle Evo saying,
I love it. All I do is just believe in the heart of the cards, and then I...
Thank you for listening to a Nerd to Know Media production.